Welcome back to the summer shade house of My Green Pets. This is where they hang out in the summer and enjoy lots of light and rain and wind and bugs and all that good stuff. And they really get to be part of nature for part of the year, and I think it really does them good. They really grow much more quickly out here, and they seem to respond in a very positive way to being out here. So I like to have them out here, and I also just like to have them out here so that I can come out there and just kind of hang out with them a little bit, if you know what I mean. So today, the type of plants, the genus of orchid we're looking at are the Bulbophyllum, or Bulbophyllum, or Bulbophyllum, or whatever you want to call them. This is actually the largest genus of orchids, got the most members. I think it's something like 2,000 different species in this particular genus. And you can actually see all four of mine right here in this shot. And we're going to look at each one and talk a little bit about each one. They've all got very similar care. In general, the Bulbophyllum type orchids, they like warmth, they like medium light, not really high, but not really shady. And they love water. Oh my gosh, they are just absolute water hogs. They love water. They love to be wet, 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 wet. So if you can keep them warm, give them lots of air circulation, give them lots of light, well, not too much, but good amount of light, and if you can keep them nice and moist and wet, they're going to grow real well for you. They're not really that hard to grow. And man, they are rewarding because their blooms are just so weird and freaky. They've got such a variety of different types of flowers. A lot of the Bulbophyllum genus are pollinated by flies. And there's a really fantastic video on YouTube of this guy who actually went out in Malaysia and took videos of different Bulbophyllums getting pollinated by flies. It's really remarkable. I'll try to stick the link on there, on the video, when we get it up there. So let's go ahead and dive right in. I'm going to save the best for last, at least in my opinion. So we're going to start with this one. This is Bulbophyllum echinolabium. Or echinolabium, or whatever you want to call it. This is the spiny-lipped Bulbophyllum. It has, I think, probably one of the largest, if not the largest, flower of the family. It's got about 16, max 16-inch flower. It's long and skinny, and it smells like rotting roadkill. A lot of the Bulbophyllums, as they are pollinated by flies, they don't smell sweet and nice. They smell like rotting things, because that's what flies are into. They like things that are rotting to lay their eggs in. So I got this one just last year. It's a really good grower. I mean, it's put out several new leaves this year. It's got nice big flat leaves, but I have not seen any spikes on it yet. So I've had two kind of almost gonna bloom situations, but then nothing ended up happening. So this bulb right here that I'm pointing to is my last hope for getting a flower spike out of this plant this season. If not, then we'll go into winter spikeless as we did last year, and then maybe hope for something next year. Okay, moving on. This is a hybrid, actually. This is called Bulbophyllum, and this is Lovely Elizabeth. Lovely Elizabeth. And it's a hybrid between Rothschildianum and I forget the other one. But this one produces, this is kind of your typical Bulbophyllum, if you can say that, because it's the shape and the look of the plant is very kind of typical Bulbophyllum. It just completed this new growth this year. It started it in March, April, and then completed it in June. And then hopefully this fall we will see some kind of a spike growing out of here. Now there's only 3 growths on the plant, so it's very possible it just doesn't have the energy to bloom yet, but we can always be hopeful. Alright, this one that was recently given to me, this is Bulbophyllum rufinum, and it has flowers almost like a dendrochilum, if you've ever seen one of those. It's just kind of like a long thing like this with lots of little flowers all over it. And I was just given this literally a couple weeks ago, so I just kind of potted it up in sphagnum moss to keep it nice and wet and moist, and we'll see what it does. Like I said, it's pretty new, so don't know. I'm just going to give it that typical bulbo care, and hopefully it will do something nice for me. Okay, and the last Bulbophyllum, which is by far probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite orchid in general, is this one. This is Bulbophyllum medusae. And if you've looked at my other videos, you've seen this plant in full bloom last fall. Last year it had 7 spikes. This year it has grown 8 new growths. Here's one of them. And last year it started showing spikes at the end of August. So I'll be looking within the next month or so. I'll be looking for this plant to start setting spikes. And then last year it bloomed in November. Now typically November's not a month you think of as having flowers, but boy, when this thing blooms, last year I was saying, oh my gosh, November's my new favorite month because this is when this orchid blooms. I won't try to describe the flowers, just check out my video where you can see the, I call it the mop head. Actually my mom came up with that, the mop head orchid, because it does kind of look like a mop head. When it blooms, it's just absolutely, I can't say enough about it. I mean, I literally just sit there and stare at it for hours. So I got really lucky. I bought this plant off of eBay last year, and it was mounted on a piece of cedar. And I got online and I was like, how do I get this thing off this mount? And then literally all you have to do is soak it in water for about 15 minutes and it will slide right off with a little bit of pushing. So then I just stuck it in this basket with sphagnum moss and just try to keep it watered, give it fertilizer, give it light, give it warmth, and it has doubled in size since last year. I'm really pleased with it. So hopefully we'll just keep getting more and more and more blooms on this thing, and it will. I look forward to being able to show you what it looks like this year, because hopefully it's really going to be something spectacular. Okay, so those are my bulbos, as they are affectionately known. Thank you for tuning in, and please let me know if you've enjoyed this or learned something, and or have any comments or anything to say. I'd love to hear it. So until next time, this is my green pets. Hasta luego.